In today's episode, we're gonna get into this box, this really nice piece of equipment that we got recently. Now, every single day, this is not a complaint. Every single day, it seems like there's a new piece of equipment that comes comes to the house. My girl, I mean, she might say something different, but yeah, there seems to be boxes all over the house now. So this, we were fortunate enough that Neewer, I know that a lot of the times we work with Godox, but Neewer sent us over a really nice flash. I've been looking forward to this since they initially reached out to us because about a year or two ago, they reached out and we tested out the Z2. The Z2 was a great flash. They sent us a couple of units. We actually posted a video where we shot some cars out in Huntington Beach and great unit, but we work more with Godox because that's kind of what we bought into from the beginning. And that right there, there's a little nugget that I'm going to tell you guys at the end that has to do with that as well. Anyway, what we're starting out with here is the Z3, and this is the Sony mount, obviously, the one that, works for my Sony camera. This is going to be a pretty quick overview video. If you guys have any questions about it, please leave them in the comments. And you guys know I will answer every single comment. Respectful comments get respectful responses. The other ones get the same amount of respect. Anyway, let's get into it. The Z3 is one of their newer units, and no pun intended, newer units by Neewer. This is what it is right here. It comes in a nice case, which I may or may not use. Lately, I have been putting them away in cases because I don't want to break the screen. So this is what it looks like. It's a big boy. It is definitely a bigger flash unit than the other ones that we've been testing out. The other ones that we've been testing out, I think the selling point has been the size, has been how small and portable they are. Actually, I'm going to put a video on the IT32 that I took to El Salvador, and that is a great travel flash. This would still work, but you just have to be a little more mindful. It is definitely more what your standard flash feels like. It's pretty big. There's a good reason for that. 100 watts of power out of this speed light. Do you need that much power out of a speed light? Probably not. It's nice to have, but the reason that you want to have something that has that much power is that, let's say you're shooting in a reception, and instead of shooting this thing at half power, quarter power, if you're shooting at, really fairly low ISOs or high f-stops, whatever you may be doing, instead of shooting at such high power, you may be able to get away with this at an eighth power, at a 16th power, because it's such a powerful flash. So I was excited about it because I find that this would be a great addition to the other larger units that we have. At 100 watts, I mean that's a decent amount of power out of a speed light, and for what it is, it's not enormous. It is big, but it's not huge considering how much power it has. It basically, no pun intended, outweighs its negatives because of how powerful it is. Another thing that I really like about it is the size of the screen. The size of the screen is enormous. So because of that, everything is extremely easy to read, and everything in the submenus, as you guys are seeing, for example, the modeling lamp, you can see that it tells you what it does. So continuous remains lit during flash. Enter, it shows that modeling lamp off during flash. So the modeling lamp will stay on so you can pre-focus. When you hit your shutter, the modeling lamp will shut off and then it'll come back on. So those are nice features that, yes, other flashes have, but I find that sometimes it doesn't get explained and you have to Google it or search for it. And obviously, it telling you exactly what it's doing or what those features are on the flash is pretty sweet. You can turn the beep on, you can have it off. I think by default it's on. I shut it off just because if I'm shooting in a ceremony, I don't want it to continually keep beeping if I'm using it off camera or on camera. So I don't know if it on camera, I don't think it would beep. I think it's only for off. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I'm pretty sure, yeah, that's only in off camera. So in either case, I don't want it beeping in the middle of a ceremony because then we have to get into it with the priest like we did that one time. So another feature, distance. So you can, and it tells you right there, choosing incorrect distance may cause misfires. Just explaining it to you, making it dummy proof is, I think, something that more flashes and more companies should integrate, especially with these new touchscreens. You have so much real estate that you can explain to your user what these things do so you can get the most out of your flashes. As I was saying, distance, you can do 1 to 10 meters or 1 to 100 meters. This is not catering to Americans. We get lost. So very far. I don't know. I'll put the actual number on the bottom. Uh, all right. Screen settings. You can tell it your standby when it's a transmitter. You can tell it when it's a receiver or on optical slave mode, shut off time or off time. So it'll shut down, I guess, after a certain point. You can tell it how bright you want the screen to be. So I usually put it pretty high because I want to be able to see it, and I'm 40, so my eyes have deceived me. And let's see, you can change it as far as how many steps. So you can either increase, decrease by 1/3, or you can increase and decrease by 0.1. I do 1/3 because I do not have the time to scroll through 10 in order to do one extra stop of light. And on that note, it also tells you on the bottom. So 0.1, fine adjustments, ideal for shots requiring precise control. One thing that and then the other one is a little bit quick adjustments, ideal for capturing fast moving subjects. I go with the 0.3 because if I want to do a very, very slight change, sometimes I'll change my aperture. And yes, it does affect the overall exposure, a tiny, minuscule amount, not a significant amount, in my opinion. So I'd rather change it on my camera than go in here and change it, with a bunch of dials in the middle of a very fast moving situation. So that's why I do 0.3. Let me know if my explanation made sense. If it didn't, I'll be happy to expand on that. You can choose your language. So we're going to do it in Espanol. No, we're going to do it in English because I don't know photography terms in Spanish. I learned English when I was 8, and I didn't know anything about cameras back then. So whenever you guys leave a comment in Spanish, I respond in English, guys. I apologize. I don't know the terms. So if I try to do it in Spanish, I'm going to sound like a no sabo kid, and nobody wants that. Next thing, system settings. It tells you the firmware, whatever firmware you are at. You can reset the settings. And on the firmware, this is what I was getting at in the beginning. This is also the reason why you're seeing 2 remotes here. This is the Neewer, what is it? QZ-S. So Sony, obviously. You always get the right mount for your flash. Beautiful design. I'm going to say that. I will say I use Godox mainly. You guys know that if you follow the channel, but it's a prettier design. The colors are nicer, and also Neewer home run with this little dial. I absolutely love the fact that the dial is in the middle. Why? You guys have heard me complain that when you're shooting with the Godox one, this dial is on the right. So to me, it doesn't make sense because it's not intuitive. If I'm holding the flash like this, I have to go around and do this. I use touchscreen all the time because of that, because it's a little annoying. What they did with this is they put it on top, which is similar to the old X Pro from Godox. So when you're holding it like this, you can be shooting like this and you can scroll down, on the wheel. You can tap it and then you can up and down right there. So you can adjust with your left while you're holding this, which makes it a little bit easier, in my opinion, than the dial being on the right, since most of us hold our cameras with the right, I would imagine it. Do they make a left-handed camera? I haven't done enough research on that. In any case, this is the remote. Listen to that bad boy. That is a little loud. All right. So right now I have it on transmitter because I was testing something else out that I'm going to explain to you guys. But what I'm going to do is put it on receiver. I already have it on 5A because 5 is my favorite number, which I think I found out why when I was in El Salvador last. I grew up in a house and the house number was 55. I never knew why 5 was my favorite number, but I think that might have something to do with it. In any case, so just a quick tip on this remote, it shows me that the lowest amount of power I can go is 1/512. However, the lowest that you can go on the Z3 is 256. So what I'm going to do is actually I'm changing it on here. So the lowest it'll allow me to go is 256. So that way it doesn't confuse me if I'm using this remote with this flash. So just a quick thing, guys. Obviously, I may check for the firmware to see if there is something that may be able to step it down even more, but I don't really necessarily think I need to go that low. So I'm going to leave it like that for now. 256, and then I can increase the power from here. So I'm seeing it change on the flash. I'll hit test. There it is, all the way to full power. You guys ready for this? This is going to be bright. Jesus Christ. I'm not exaggerating. There's a white table, so that was actually very bright. Okay, so that is how this gets integrated. Here's the bonus. So I'm going to shut this off, shut the Neewer trigger off, and I'm going to do a review on this trigger. I'm also going to use it because I haven't really gotten a chance to use it. So any questions that you guys have about this remote, please let me know, and I'll be happy to respond. I haven't even taken the plastic off. So that's that. That's brand new. And here is the bonus that I was talking about. So if you scroll down on the Z3 and you go down and you hit RF wireless, right there, you're going to see on the bottom RX compatible. When you hit that, okay, I'm going to turn that on. I'm going to turn on the Godox trigger. You heard that? Okay, which means something's happening. This to me is pretty revolutionary because up until this point, every single Godox trigger had to be with a Godox flash, unless I'm mistaken. You guys can, correct me. With this new system with Neewer on the Z3, once I hit that, I'm able to control the power and fire from the Godox remote. So no longer are you having to be married just to one system. There's a caveat to that. I'm going to explain it. But as of right now, I can change the power from this remote. So I can use this as B or use this as A or whatever, and then I can interchange them with other Godox flashes. Just so happens that I have a Godox flash right here. So I'm going to have this one on A, and then this one I'm going to put on B. So now both of these flashes are working. This is a Godox flash, this is a Neewer flash, and they're both working together. So maybe they're too close to each other, so that was actually acting up. Let me see. Let me lower that because I'm blinding myself with A. There we go. If they were too close, I noticed, see, there's a little bit of a misfire there. But if they're far away enough, which if you're shooting without camera flash, they shouldn't be right next to each other, then they'll work. So I'm learning some things as well. Like I tested some of this, but obviously as I'm showing you guys, I also want to show you, little things that you might run into. So it seems like if they're really, really close to each other, they don't want to fire together. But if they're a little bit further away, then they'll work. And also the power I can change independently. So that one's on A, that one's on B. And now I'm changing this one. That's at 256. And then that one is at 1/8. So it made it so both of them are now working. Now, here's the caveat. This is what I was talking about. I'm going to shut both of them off. I'm going to turn on the Neewer trigger, okay? And then I'm going to turn on the Z3. There's that one. And then I'm going to turn on the Godox. Now, you see, they don't work. So you have to go back to the wireless options on the Z3. And you're going to have to shut off RX compatibility. Now, the only one that's going to work is going to be that one. So that's the caveat. Neewer will work now with Godox to a certain degree, right? So this trigger will fire off both these flashes, but the Neewer remote will only fire the Neewer flash. It's not going to fire the Godox system. So Godox hasn't integrated with Neewer. Neewer is kind of jumping into their territory in a sense. So I just kind of wanted to bring that up. I know I kind of went on a tangent because I know the video is supposed to be about the Z3. I will be posting another video that's specifically about the Z3, and we went out to shoot with it so you guys can see some results from this specific flash. But I wanted to show you guys because it's interesting stuff, in my opinion. Like this, I don't know why nobody's talking about it. I searched on YouTube. I searched on Google. It was hard to find information about what I'm telling you guys right now. If I find it interesting, I'm going to share it with you guys. If you don't find it interesting, you can tune out. If you do, I mean, you can ask questions and we'll learn all this nonsense together. I have a feeling that this is going to open up the floodgates with all these flashes. I do think that all these flashes are going to start communicating with one another. When I did the update, the firmware update for the Z2 a few weeks ago, I was playing around with my Godox trigger and I hit test and it fired it. And I went, is this common knowledge? And that's when it made me go down this rabbit hole. And then now with the Z3, they actually blatantly said it works with the Godox system. There's a chart right now that shows you other flashes that are integrated together. So all that to say, that was a huge long tangent. So thank you for anybody that's still here. If you're still here, leave a comment. So all that to say, this is I was going to curse. I'm not going to curse. This is a really, really great unit. It is incredibly powerful. Like I said, 100 watts, and it is, I think, 1.7. I'm going to confirm 1.7 recycle time. It gives you 500 full power pops. Who the hell needs that? But it has that. It has a USB-C charger, so you can charge it directly to the battery. It also, which I like, It's a detachable battery, so that way you can have multiple batteries if you have a really long shoot. So yes, if you do over 500 full power pops, you can have another battery and you can have a secondary one to keep you going. So modeling lamp, obviously, in the front on top. Another thing is it also has the round head with the magnet. So let me show you guys. It's right here. I don't have to go anywhere. Right here. So this is the magnetic round head. So you can attach the CTO, the grid, all that, and it works very easily. Now, I mentioned this in a previous video. This is decent, not the best. I do still think that MagMod is better, and I'll explain to you guys why. I used this CTO, and I think it might be like a half. I don't think it's a full CTO because it wasn't color correcting perfectly. So not necessarily the most ideal. I'm gonna do a little more research on that and maybe give you guys an update on a future video. But yeah, I do still think that MagMod is a little bit better. However, if you're in a pinch and you know, this will get you by, and it's a lot cheaper. For all three things is like as cheap as one CTO or like one grid from MagMod. So I get that. I'm not over here saying spend every single penny. In any case, guys, let me know what you guys think. I kind of touched on everything that's on here as far as how much does it rotate. It goes all the way back. So if you want to bounce backwards on the other direction, it goes all the way back as well. So it goes all the way around on both sides. Let me know what you guys think. You hear it. It's very clicky, which I like because a lot of the times I've given you guys actually a tip where if you have it on top of the camera, I usually rotate it like this so it doesn't tilt forward. I don't think that's really going to be much of an issue with this because it seems like it's pretty sturdy. Now, if you go, really hard, yeah, it's going to do that. So maybe still do that, but it's definitely very tactile. So build quality seems really good. I'll probably make another video about it because there's so many features. Like even right now, I'm pulling that thing off so you can have an external battery power. So let me know what you guys think about this flash. Let me know what you think about, the discovery that I made with Neewer and Godox. Anything that you guys want to watch, any questions that you have, please leave them below. I will always respond to comments. And yeah, if you'd like to subscribe to the channel, if you like what we post, feel free to subscribe. That would be wonderful because we're just going to keep this train going. We're going to be posting a lot this year. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great week.